inequalities and your fractions like these, right? The idea is, let's see, you have we have a fraction. So the idea is this is a numerator and a denominator that we're working with. The idea is anytime you're working with the numerator and the denominator, don't forget that if this thing is going to be smaller than or equal to 0, let's firstly deal with where it is smaller than 0, because we have to deal with two things. We have to deal with where is this smaller than 0, and then we have to deal with where is that same fraction equal to 0. Do you agree?
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, so what we can do is to try and work these out individually. But then in the process of working them out individually, we should then be able to merge the answers so that we end up with something that, makes sense. Do you get it?
Yeah.
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 Yeah. So with all things considered, right? Let's start with where is this fraction smaller than 0, right? For this fraction to be smaller than 0, we have to be careful. Let me just see here. Give me 2 seconds. Let's see here. Okay. Yeah. So with what I'm saying now, right, is firstly, with what we can do, if for this fraction to be smaller than 0, you have to think of a scenario where the top is a plus while the bottom is a minus, right? Or the top has to be a minus while the bottom is a plus. Do you see that this is the only way this thing will be smaller than 0?
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's do that. Let's work out where the top is a positive value while the bottom is a negative. Or rather, let's work out where the top is a another thing is we don't have a mark allocation. Because if we had a mark allocation, I think we would at least have a better time with these kinds of questions. But since we don't, yeah, it's a bit of a problem. The other thing is this down here is, we should not underestimate what we're dealing with. This down here is a parabola. The reason I'm pointing it out is because whatever x value we put in here, this here will never be a negative, because this automatically, if you were to draw it on a Cartesian plane, you are going to see something like this, where this value here is like a 9. You see, so this here never becomes a negative. That we know. So meaning this scenario is automatically ruled out. It cannot happen because this can never be a negative. You see, so we can only work with this scenario. We want to work out where is the top going to be a negative and where is the bottom going to be a plus. The bottom is going to be a plus for all values of x. So that kind of makes things a bit strange for us, but it almost makes it a bit easier because we already know that since this can always be a plus, we don't have to worry about it too much. We can just work out where this is a negative. You see, we just have to work out where the top part is a negative. So 3x minus 1, where is it smaller than 0? The 1 goes over to the other side, divide both sides by 3, you have x is smaller than 1 over 3. So now we know that as long as x is smaller than 1 over 3, our expression will be smaller than 0. You get it?
Oh, yes.
Furthermore, as long as as long as our what do we have here? For us to work out where this is equal to 0, because we worked that way, is it smaller than 0? It's smaller than 0 when this happens. For us to work out where is this equal to 0, do you see that either one of these have to be a 0, but it cannot be the bottom? You see, the top has to be a 0 for this to be a 0. Do you get it?
Yeah.
For this fraction to be equal to 0, the top should be a 0. The bottom cannot be a 0 because the whole thing will be undefined. You see.
Right.
So
Yeah.
So with a situation like this one, we can do the following, right? We can say here, where is the top? So it means that you see that it looks as though the top is actually just dominating. Where is the top equal to 0? So it's equal to 0. You move this to the one side. You divide both sides by 3. X is a third, you see. So if you were to look at our answer nicely now to see where these things can both coexist, if you ask yourself, if this number, right, if X is equal to a third, we still get what we want. If X is smaller than a third, we still get what we want, you see. So in this case, we can say, therefore, X is smaller or equal to a third.
Oh, understand.
You see it?
Yeah.
Fantastic, fantastic. See. So with that being said, if we are to what you may call, if we are to do what now? Yeah, I think for now that deals with the question 5 and the question 9. Are there any questions so far on what we mentioned?